So as we are supposed to be growing to be like him, that's what we need to do. We need to do. So today, we're going to start in 2 Chronicles 5:6. And King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel who were assembled with him before the ark were sacrificing sheep and oxen that could not be counted or numbered for multitude. And we're talking, King Solomon wanted to show his love, and it was extravagant, right? And the people were with him, and they said, yes, let's do that. So they started sacrificing, which is their praise and worship back in the Old Testament. And it was so much that they couldn't contain it, they couldn't count it. They were sacrificing so many animals to the Lord because of their gratefulness for his abundance, all right? And you can never outgive God. You can't do it. There is nothing too good for God. You cannot ever outgive him. There's no limits to him. And what's amazingly, because we've talked about this before, about how everything we have is God's in the first place, God will receive the things that he gave us, he will receive back as a show of your extravagant love, even if it's excessive to some, and then he blesses you again. So the cycle keeps going, and it gets bigger and bigger. One of my, I do positive declarations twice a day, and they aren't the declarations that you usually hear the world telling you, get on Instagram and they tell you, say this, that, I'm not saying, I'm worth it, or I'm enough, or I'm so beautiful, or look at me. My positive declarations, affirmations are, I have the mind of Christ, right? I have the mind of Christ. I'm disciplined in my body, soul, and spirit. And I have quite a few, but the one I start with, because it seems to be the basis of our humanity, is thank you, Lord, for, in fact, I forgot what I said. Thank you, Lord, for releasing your finances over us and through us. And the through us is the most important part. Of course, it has to be on us in order for us to have something to give. So, Lord, bless us with things, with money, with whatever you have, but let us release it continually. He releases it over us. We release it out to those he wants to bless, those things that matter, those sacrifices. So my first one is thank you, Lord, for releasing your finances over us and through us. And I know he would affirm this too, but ever since, years ago, we've gone through some hard times, some dark times, and all that kind of stuff, but God is always there. He's always there. And we're still here, and we never starved or anything like that. And it's abundant blessings throughout our life. And I know Pastor has told you some. So that's my declaration for you today, is to trust God, that no matter what you give him, he will give you more. And I have a couple men that I have met in my life that exemplify this. And I'll probably talk about one next week, and I'm going to talk about one today. Interestingly enough, both our last names are Myers, but they're not related. And I've told you about them before. This is one of the little books by Wayne Myers. I'm pretty sure he's passed by now. I met him 30 years ago, maybe. He's even signed my book. But he was a missionary to Mexico. And I have never known someone that it was more generous, more giving, more loved by God than he was. And in fact, one of my books from him is just little quips and little sayings that he's had over the years. But he has, this is from the foreword of the book by Frida Lindsay. And Frida Lindsay was, her and her husband are the ones that founded Christ for the Nations, where Sarah Kate graduated from, and has done an amazing, amazing ministry in life. But she writes this about him. When students are asked who their favorite speaker of the year is, you guessed it, Wayne Myers. This man of God is one of a kind. He has helped build over 4,000 native churches in Mexico alone. Plus, he's been vital in helping us build in many other nations, now over 11,000 native churches. His pithy, powerful, pointed, energetic messages captivate the attention of the students immeasurably. He himself is the supreme example. Without owning a home of his own and driving a car that is usually given to him, it seems that money grows in his pockets. As he walks on campus among the students, God often lays it on his heart to give to someone, and he immediately pulls out some money for that student. I've witnessed that many times. When I met him, he had already given away hundreds and hundreds of cars. He gets a car, and then somebody comes along, and he gives it to him. It's like, well, God will provide. And there it is. There's another one. He just is free with everything God has given him. He's given so much that he has nothing, and yet he has everything. He always has everything, and he's in the, I guess it would be the eastern mountains of Mexico. He is well known about all the little native villages and all, because he travels these places and he gives and he gives and he gives. And his, I don't know if it's his motto in life or whatever, but it's something for us to try to gain, is he wants to, his whole gift, and I mean his gifting in life is to give everything, be the most generous, give everything. His goal is to give more, to give more, to give more. It's not like, okay, I'm satisfied now, I have a good life or anything. He just keeps giving. Give more. His thing is make his goal higher and make his goal higher. The way he does that is trust. Trust in God. And that's the book is called Living Beyond the Possible. And the little byline is trusting God with your finances and future. And I think that's the thing. I think even our healing line today, 95% of the church was up here. And as Pastor was saying, it made him angry. And I thought he was going to say something about that. We have a church here that believes in divine healing. We believe that God is present in our life and working through our life, and we believe that it's a real thing, a real presence and everything. And yet 95% of us were up here, including me. That's not that's not the way it's supposed to be. So I believe that the more we give of ourselves financially, abundantly, our time, our service, God will reward us in other ways. And I think that we need to trust God. Trust God with those ailments. Don't cling to them. Trust him that he'll take them. Trust him that he's going to multiply whatever you give in any, I know it's a stewardship lesson for money, but any department of our life, we need to trust God. So we're going to talk about that this month, about trusting God. All right. Apparently I need an usher because Mr. Vic isn't here today. So thank you, Robert. And let's stand and bring the Lord's tithe this morning. And in a little bit we'll be bringing the offering. And if you have a visitor card, you can put it in either basket or hand it to us. Remember, rejoice.